What is up, ladies and gentlemen? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster, RAF ESPARZA, coming to you with another great installment of the Bullpen, a joint venture between Inside BJJ and the Grappling Hour. And listen, we're already off to a very, very good start here because Egg is already pushing my merch, which honestly is all I'm here to do. I don't know if you know this, but this talk show that we do, it's really an affront to have you guys just buy our merch. That's probably where we make all the money. But he's not wrong. You can get those at rafesparza.com/merch. Grappling Hour hoodies, they keep you warm. They help you compete. They make you win. Can't legally say that, but I do. And we thank you for giving us a plug, and we'll do one in turn. You guys are going to want to stay tuned after this on the PGF World page. I believe you should be able to see Egg's new show there. Is that the case? Because I don't know that for sure. Did I just commit to telling people the wrong place? Tell me in the chat.
His show's on PBS, right?
You know what? What if it was one of the things that got cut? They were like, we don't have the money for this. They were like, it's Sesame Street. They go on. An Egg show. Antiques. But still Egghead. So nonetheless, you're going to want to pay attention to that because Egg has a very, very good interview that we will preview a little bit later. But let's say hi to my good friend, Tim Freeman. Tim, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing fantastic, man. I'm hanging and banging, humping and bumping, binding and grinding, cooking and hooking. Dude, I'm back. Thanksgiving was great. I can't wait. My son celebrated his 19th birthday yesterday. Happy birthday, Nate. I just got to get him to 20, and then I'm done. I'm retiring from fatherhood at that point. I'm going to go into the fatherhood retirement home and just be like, you're on your own, kids. But it's great to be here, Raph. Lots of stuff going on in jiu-jitsu this week. It's juicy.
Good to know. Okay. He's not wrong about this as I transition because this is probably the best way to put it. Merchandising. That's from Mel Brooks, of course, in the greatest movie of all time, Spaceballs. And he has let us know it is on the Egghead Jiu-Jitsu YouTube page. We will tell you who is on that. So, Egg, this is a trick. You have to not say who's on. You throw to that toward the end so that you remind people that they go. If you tell them now, because you're going to tell them in the chat, that's not how TV works. Literally, they tell you, stay tuned, and we'll give you more information. So, a little misnomer for the youth out there. Tim, we've been away for a while, so there's a few topics that aren't even on the board that we should discuss. And you put a couple up here, and I'm going to go ahead and bring them up one by one before we're able to start moving to the world of jiu-jitsu and MMA. But we thought we'd take a moment to actually discuss what's happening outside the world of jiu-jitsu and MMA. So why don't we start with this? I actually went to Survivor Series War Games, and I had a blast. As one of my friends said, wow, Raph, these tickets are pretty good. And I was like, hey, your boy always finds the richest poor seats. And I felt like we had a great time. I enjoyed it. There was a slight harp that I have, and I'll get to your question here in a second. But the harp that I have is I do miss the traditional Survivor Series elimination format. Now, what they do is they do it under War Games where only one person has to take the fall or the pin. And that's...
yeah.
Not as fun. Because when I was a kid, that was the Thanksgiving tradition. The week before or after Thanksgiving, you would watch 5 or 4 people who didn't look like they get along form a team, and storylines abound. In this format, you're just like, hey, here's Brock Lesnar. He has nothing to do with the Usos, but there he is. He's here for some reason, and he's next to Logan Paul. That's a thing, right? So I wanted to know, what is your opinion on those two differences, sir?
Well, I like Survivor Series. It's been on. When did Survivor Series premiere? Do you know? It's probably
years ago plus, dude.
88, something like that.
Don't do
I remember when I'm old enough to have remembered when Survivor Series started. In the beginning, I was kind of like, I don't know if I like this. I was just like WrestleMania is the thing, and then that's it. And then I knew there was Starrcade, and that was kind of chilling on the side. But I don't mind. What I did not like Survivor Series, I hated like the 4-man tag team matches that they would run constantly out there. And Survivor Series really lost me for a few years after the gobbledygooker hatched out of an egg. That was like one of the lamest things ever. Was not a fan. But War Games, I kind of think what they have to do every so often is they have to kind of switch it up and to change the tension and give them more ending opportunities and different ideas so the same things kind of don't get played out. I do like the idea that at any moment somebody could get pinned and the whole thing is over, but I also kind of like the idea of like, you know, it's a battle to the last two guys standing in that cage. So they got to change it up a little bit for the kids. I don't hate them for doing it, but I do like the traditional, you got to get rid of everybody as well. I want to know who the mystery attacker was. Because I have an idea.
You have a theory. Do you want to hear my theory?
Yes, I would love to hear your theory.
My theory is that it is Austin Theory, a gentleman that was trying to be pushed and that Vince McMahon had a hard-on for, and that didn't quite get over with the audience. Sometimes when
literally
Vince says, this is the guy, people are resistant to it. And it's sort of like how with Roman Reigns for years, they're like, this is the guy. And you go, I just don't want it. And then eventually they find the right storyline, and you kind of wonder how much involvement Vince has with the bloodline. They pair him with Heyman. It all kind of works together. But apparently, the rumor on the streets is that Paul Heyman wanted Theory so that Braun Breaker doesn't take as many pinfalls and they can protect him. And I think that kind of checks out. But can I tell you one thing that happened right as we finished?
Oh, yeah. Please.
We went to a bar, and Tim, I kid you not, I make friends everywhere. I have made friends at other WrestleManias that have become longtime friends of mine for now 15, 16 years. I don't know what it is, if that the talk show host in me never leaves, but we went to a pizza place. We're on a high top. It's me and 3 friends. The high top looks like it can fit about 6 people. But 2 randos, I had put a pizza plate where my buddy Brady went. He went to the bathroom, and then somebody just moved the plate aside without asking me and just like sat there. Now, have you ever had the nerve, the gall, the audacity, if somebody is at a high top, to see a little bit of space that looks open, but other people are sitting there, and then just sit at the high top?
I think that's only acceptable to do if you're at a food hall, you know, and it's community seating. That's different. If it's really packed, I have asked people that had open chairs, like, hey, would you mind if I joined you? 9 times out of 10, people would love for you to sit down. A lot of people just, they don't care, right? But just to kind of, a high top that's like, that's a little more intimate. On the intimacy level, it's like, it's up a little bit, you know?
I have to be honest with you. I have zero problem sharing the space. It's just that he moved my paper plate like it was trash. Now, granted, this is physical trash, but the fact that he treated it like trash meant that he was treating me like trash. And this dude sits up there and immediately, because I guess I look conversational, goes, what'd you guys think about Survivor Series? Do you guys have an idea of who that mystery man was? And I was like, I have an idea. I'm going to kick your ass here because you're sitting too close to us. And I indulge it, and I start talking to him. Super nice guy. I just think it's like the slight cluelessness, blinders that happen, but he was very nice. And as we're going through different experiences of who we think it could be, what I noticed was I was saying, you know, the way that you guys are all trying to say you know the physical body parts of wrestlers is slightly concerning. Because everybody goes, couldn't be this guy. His quads aren't like that. And I'm like, you know what his quads look like? I think, wait, are you going to go home and look up how big the quads were on TV versus how that person is photographed elsewhere? And lo and behold, the internet put that tweet up today, and I go, when those tweets find their way back to me, I always wonder who I'm talking to or who overhears me, because that for sure happened out of my mouth Sunday night, 30 minutes after, at a pizza place down in San Diego. So anyway, who are your possible assailants that have been mentioned or maybe not mentioned here?
I watched it, and I watched the Michigan clip. I didn't watch WrestleMania. WrestleMania's at ESPN now, so you got to pay for it. Or Survivor Series. They changed the format up. But, and I'm not going to lie, Raf, I did do that thing where I kind of looked at the body type and I was like watching him climb up the cage, and then I rewound it and kind of watch it reversed. And I'm like, I don't, because somebody said, oh, that's Seth Rollins. And I'm like, Seth Rollins is like leaner than that. It's really because of grappling. I had 3 new guys sign up during the week, and one of them I was like eyeballing him across the room, and I'm like, hey man, how much you weigh? You about 190, somewhere around there? You 6'3"? It's just a weird thing. But I'm ruling all those guys out. I know who it is. This is actually very easy. We know who it is, dude. Think about this. It's Dylan Dennis, dude. Listen, here's why. Hear me out. He only fights at events he's not invited to. He doesn't actually get fights, but he's always fighting. It has to be Dylan Dennis. He's got to be the guy. He does the run-in. And then I thought about it, and I thought, man, he actually might have a better run in the WWE or some pro wrestling organization, because he really kind of is a heel. Like, even if he was faking it to make it in the beginning, I think Dennis has pretty much gone full heel. This is probably the perfect time for him to go into professional wrestling. And then just say, like, MMA, I was too hot for MMA. They couldn't. Why sully your reputation and actually go out there and lose? Go into WWE, make some money.
The masterful way in which you posted this as a topic and didn't signal it would be Dylan Dennis tainted is on one of the higher pranks you have ever played on this show. Because here I was thinking, like, oh, is he going to say Chris Jericho? Because that was what people felt in the audience. They're like, is it Chris Jericho? And I'm like, did you see the way that man climbed the cage? That is not a 50-plus-year-old climb. No.
But it is the Jericho body type. It is the Jericho quad silhouette. I'm telling you, dude, Raph, from the back, I'm not kidding. No, I did think that. I saw it, dude. Yes. Jericho's very identifiable from the hindsight.
You know, here's the thing, Raph. Your mistake, you didn't look at it from the back. Oh, my error. You're right.
You know I'm a butt guy, dude.
Somebody did say this, and I have to say it. They did say there's a possibility they used a stunt double and they'll use somebody else to reveal. Now, that sure. I'm interested in, because I'll tell you the people who I want it to be. I want it to be Montez Ford. Montez has been due for a push. He's amazing. Theory, I think, is a very good seller and could be interesting under the tutelage of Paul Heyman. But this whole faction to me is already water under the bridge and terrible because you have the Logan Paul in there. And I'm like, I don't care what they do now. Braun Breaker, vaguely excited about. But Logan Paul, anytime they open his mouth, I just go, shut up, let Paul talk. You don't have the gift. And then even though people say, boo, when you open your mouth, you have go home heat. You don't have, wow, that's a good heel heat. That's a, brother, just shut up. We're not interested. And things can change, but I don't think it's going to be that guy. And yeah, that's where I'm at. So them's the feelings. And it says, Dennis for Royal Rumble, Saudi Arabia. I mean, if anybody's going to take some money that the Saudis got, I think Dylan Dennis is up there. You mentioned that it might be a good time for him to go the WWE route. I'll make one suggestion to Dylan Dennis. I think he mumbles too much to cut a good promo. Have you ever, at your core, listened to him in an interview? It's almost similar to when you hear Nick Diaz speak. It's almost in a quiet Navajo speak, which is almost like, yeah, well, I got that guy. It's cool, but what are you talking about? And I'm like, oh, that's the guy you think is gonna kill it on the mic. A plus.
It's like, you know how when you and I talk, we do our word processing up here in our head, and then they do it right down here in their mouth right before it comes out. They just kind of like have like their
No, there's no social you know, I don't know. Oh, buffering. There's no social buffering. That's what it is. Yeah, that's what it. Oh, great. Look, oh, it's gonna cut a compelling promo, but let him get in the comments. That's fine. You just can't troll in a comment section the way you need to cut a promo. It says Diaz impression incoming. So here's what I want to point out about people. Do you think it is better to point out that I am doing the impression or that it is incoming? Do you need a gold star? Because, of course, I have people that I do impressions of. But do you think being like, oh, I'm going to call it before it happens is the same way of kind of calling the outcomes in professional wrestling? I leave it to you. Why don't we go to our next topic, which is this? Tim, you found this one, so I'd like for you to describe it. Apparently, Michael Jordan is suing NASCAR, and I love someone had to step up and challenge NASCAR. Did it have to be Michael Jordan? Because I didn't expect that to happen. Sir, please fill me in.
So, yeah, listen, I'm going to be real with you. When I saw this hit the headlines a while back, just the whole thing, I literally thought there's no way this is Michael Jordan. This is Michael B. Jordan. Because this is I'm being real, dude. This is what I thought. And I figured there's no way in hell Michael Jordan could even sit in a NASCAR. The dude is way too big and tall. So he's got no interest in that. This has got to be Michael B. Jordan. But I guess it's actually the Michael Jordan. So he's got a lawsuit. He's a co-owner of a race team called 23XI, and it's basically a antitrust case against NASCAR that's accusing NASCAR, and it might be some of the other teams as well, of basically giving unfair advantages and rule sets to particular teams and to kind of make most of the money for themselves. It sounds like, I'm not a super NASCAR guy. I do like F1 a little bit. But I just thought, wow, Michael Jordan, this guy, if I was the greatest anything of all time, I would just chill after that. You know what I mean? I would just chill. I would not, I wouldn't worry about like trying to play baseball or trying to own NASCARs I would just be like, yo, RAF, you want to just do a Zoom and like talk shit? We won't even put it out there, man. I'll give you $10,000. I would be the Moneyberg of chilling out. You know what I mean? I'd have all my homies over. We'd have rash guards. I would make you smoke pot with me. It's like, you can't hang out unless you do this. Oh, but anyway, it's a very interesting thing. NASCAR is a major sport in this country. There's a lot of money is involved. I'm kind of interested in seeing how this turns out and if Michael Jordan potentially has a major impact on NASCAR, which is odd, right? You'd never think that.
I think you're onto something here, Tim. When you alluded to the fact that there's Michael B. Jordan and you said it must be him. Well, obviously now we have Michael B. Jordan and Michael B. Sewin. So now you can combine those two entities into one and just be over with it. So yeah, now I'm not even going to refer to him as the GOAT. I'm like, you mean by Michael B. Sewin? Michael B. Sewin be real in the NASCAR areas. Whenever somebody says, I felt compelled, somebody had to challenge NASCAR. I think what he means is somebody has to make more money off of NASCAR. And why not the dude who has boatloads of money? So I don't know. It says somebody had to step forward and challenge the entity. I sat in those meetings with the longtime owners who were browbeaten for so many years trying to make change. I was the new person. I wasn't afraid. I felt I could challenge NASCAR as a whole. I felt as far as the sport, it needed to be looked at from a different view, aka where can I make money? Because sounds to me like somebody's trying to angle in and be like, looks like you got a good racket here and you're not letting me play. So a lawsuit. Tim, I'm going to do a quick little thing here. I'll get your response to it, but I feel
Yes, please.
very strongly about this rant, and then we'll get to the actual board itself. So I've been noticing a trend here, and social media trends take on very, very quickly. And when they are aggressively done, you do notice that almost everybody feels the same way. I feel a little bit differently about a certain thing. Show me your Spotify Wrapped. Here's the reason why. I get that it is collectively a pain in the ass to look at people's Spotify list. It might be cringe. It might not be something that you want to do. But now you're literally just complaining about the inconvenience of forwarding. You can't even be bothered to use your thumb to move to the next story. You have to bitch about the fact that other people are posting their musical selections. And here's what I want to tell you. I want them. I like music a lot. I love knowing what people do. I've made mixed CDs in the past for people that were pitch perfect because I tailor them to the person's experience of what they want to hear. But more than that intel, I want to know what terrible taste you have in music so that I can judge you accordingly. If you have good taste, I feel you are competent of better decisions. If I see country music in your Spotify Wrapped, very questionable taste and judgment. I believe the more intel that you can have, the better. I understand it makes for a good meme, and that you might say something like, oh, everybody will show their Spotify playlist. Okay, cool. Yeah, they might, dude. But you can bypass that very quickly. What you can't bypass is free knowledge. And if we're speaking bluntly, if I know their top artist, it gives me one of the security questions that might get me past one of their firewalls. So just think out loud here, people. There's a lot of data you could be getting for free in a world where data can be sold. And since jiu-jitsu's not going to make us money, I will gladly sell your data. Just kidding, I won't. But if it is profitable, apparently crime is legal in the Trump administration, so why not? Anyway, Tim, your thoughts.
Well, as the Jay-Z once said, I can't quit crime because crime still pays. So, that's just where it's at, man.
Fair. That is fair. All right, let's get to this board. Guys, I know you're excited about this. We are too. We have two of the nicest people in the world going against one another at 1FC. And yes, this is a battle of who is the best instructor, pound for pound, on BJJ Fanatics. You got Lachlan Giles, the current sub-meta of the game, versus the GOAT, the real GOAT, Marcelo Garcia, who not only is returning to us for a second match after a lengthy hiatus that included battling cancer, but you have a match that is actually interesting on paper and not just a blowout or an easy setup. Tim, what do you think we can expect from this match tonight on 1FC?
Man, usually when we say Mr. Nice Guy, we mean it derogatory, but sure. I really mean it for real. These guys actually, Marcelo's I've never heard anyone say anything negative about Marcelo ever. Not in public and not in private. Lachlan, I don't know Lachlan very well, but he seems like a nice guy. Every interaction I've ever seen people have with him, he seems like a decent dude. There's not a lot of beef on him, but who knows? But these guys seem like good human beings. They're both great at jiu-jitsu. You have Marcelo Garcia, who basically ran the 2000s. This guy is so good, and his fingerprint is so deep on no-gi jiu-jitsu. There's so much of it that we do right now that was all stuff that Marcelo was innovating and working on and doing that we just hadn't seen before. So you have Marcelo battles cancer, comes back, and now he's taking on, Mr. K-Guard himself, Lachlan Giles. And Lachlan had a huge coming out party, right? When he showed up at ADCC and went on a giant run like that. Really, he wasn't unknown, but he was like not that known. Nobody was expecting that out of him. So you have two guys that are master technicians. Obviously, Marcelo is quite a few years the senior to Lachlan. And I don't know how Marcelo's going to do with all of the leg entanglements and the expertise that Lachlan has at those entanglements. It's just not like a dude who also does leg locks. You're talking about a guy who can submit the best in the world with them. And I don't know if Marcelo's faced that at that level enough. And that sounds like hubris coming from me, but he was so actively competing in a time when the leg lock game just wasn't as developed as it is now. And you just didn't see the same looks and the same things. It doesn't mean that Marcelo's not a great jiu-jitsu guy. I wouldn't be surprised at all if he won, but I think I wouldn't be surprised either if Lachlan caught him in some kind of entanglement and got the tap that way. It's going to be a great match, though.
Tim, I can't tell which version of this I want. The pro wrestling fan in me says that Marcelo has to go out on his back and pay it forward so that Lachlan can be the new anointed king. Having said that, Marcelo's gone through cancer, dude. Like, I want to see the GOAT continue to be the guy that we all owe a great deal of our interest and our expectation of what the sport can be. Because I think the other thing that the young generation has only heard, but maybe they haven't studied enough, is Marcelo matches were very exciting. And part of it is the size differences, but just his approach. He didn't have stall jitsu. He was very active continuously. So you take that into somebody who says, hey, if I'm going to go out there, I want to have something fun. And as we all get older, it's harder to be always interesting and move fast. But he's got another very game tactician in Lachlan Giles, where even a slow match between those two is a very compelling game of chess that you want to watch. So kudos to 1FC for putting this one together. What I did notice, though, was I'm not sure how trained Lachlan is at taking photos. I saw some video of him behind the scenes taking orders like Austin Powers is behind a camera and being very nervous to be like, you want me to put my head down like this? And I realized, you know what we need to do? I need to create a DVD on how to systematically have a photo taken of you. Because the amount of time I have had to coach, help, or take the phone directly from the hands of the athletes and do the photo myself is incredibly high. And we're talking very prominent practitioners. So look for that, My BJJ Fanatics DVD instructional, how to be taken photos of, because I don't want to make it properly correct. If you make it grammatically correct, then people won't talk about it. So I'm literally setting it up for you guys to go, I don't think that's grammatically correct. And for the 80% of you who don't know it's not, you're the demo audience as well. So all the better for us. Let's move on to our second one. But yes, everybody definitely try to tune in for that one. I highly, highly recommend it. As we move on to our second big note of the week, guys, UFC BJJ is happening next Thursday, and that event is sneaky good. The reason I say sneaky good is, when you have the Tackett's involved, and Andy Varela, and Raquel, and Hanato Canuto, you have all these major players. On paper, it's already exciting. One thing that you want to keep in mind here is, who are they getting for the dance partners? Now, we gave them some mess, and I'll take a little bit of this, so I'll actually put the screen on me for a second. Initially, they didn't know who they were going to have Andrew Tackett face, and they said, Mystery Man. He's going to face Shadow Dude. And Shadow Dude ended up being Elijah Big Breakfast Dorsey. And for me, Elijah is a game competitor. I'm surprised they didn't actually have that in the can. So it meant maybe they were behind on the deal, or they weren't sure who they wanted to go with. But it at least tells you they were in the right direction. Do I still think it is dumb to announce this champion versus blank? Yes. However, this is the best of many scenarios, because Elijah is a world-class competitor. He is also a ADCC trials winner. He is always putting out great matches. And I think that is someone comparable and at a good age for him. And he's a very active gi and no gi competitor. So very excited for that one. But that's not it. We have other matches that we should figure out who those dance partners are. And for that, I'm going to go ahead and now turn it over to you, Tim. Tim, what else can we expect from UFC BJJ on Thursday night?
There's some great matchups on this card, Raf. You mentioned Renato Canuto, not just Renato Canuto against a scrub. This is going to be Renato Canuto against recent EBI Combat Jiu-Jitsu champion for the middleweights, Alan Sanchez. This is a very intriguing fight. Both these guys are really, really good at their game, and Sanchez has been exceptionally sharp yesterday. I'm sorry, yesterday. Yeah, I just rolled him yesterday. He's been exceptionally sharp recently. And, you know, Renato Canuto is always game. He's got a high-flying style, which I think could give Sanchez a little bit of trouble, especially the pacing and the fact that there's some rounds. So it's going to be really interesting to watch how that match plays out. I'm a huge fan of both of these guys, so that's going to be a great one to watch. The other one that I've got my eye on is the Raquel Canuto or Laverne fight, or Lee Laverne, excuse me. This is for the women's vacant featherweight belt. And, you know, the Canutos as a couple have... Is there a better fighting couple than the Canutos? I don't think so. I mean, the Cyborgs had a thing going for a minute, but then Cyborg, it's like magnets. You can't have two Cyborgs together. They smash apart. The Canutos just seem like, man, just a class couple. They're great at fighting, and it's kind of cool to see them fight on the same card all the time. So I expect to see good things out of that match. And then you mentioned the Tackett brothers. Again, this is like a family affair. I see what the UFC is doing. They're probably signing these guys to family deals and getting a discount. You got William Tackett against Ronaldo Jr., which is going to be a banger of a match. William's been doing great. And Ronaldo's one of these guys who he always does something in a match to surprise you. Like every time you watch him compete, he does something surprising. Andrew Tackett, younger brother of William, is going up against Elijah Dorsey that you just mentioned. And, you know, I want to see how Andrew Tackett's going to do against Dorsey. Dorsey is a very tough competitor. He's out of the Lloyd Irving camp. You know, say what you want about all that stuff, but those guys come prepared. They are always bringing new looks. They don't get stagnant in their approach. They're constantly moving towards the cutting edge of what's happening. So I look forward to that. The thing is, Raf, that I find interesting is this year in 2025, it felt to me like the UFC kind of got off first, and then now they're kind of finishing the year with the final word. Maybe PGF had an event before UFC BJJ this year, but they're kind of closing the book on the year here with that last statement showing you like they're growing. This is a good card. It's a very good card. We didn't even talk about Varela, so I'm really interested in this.
Well, you didn't talk about Varela, and that's something you're going to have to explain to him in the future. I, however, will do a quick mention for Landon Elmore, who's also on this card and was playing it very coy. Like, this is what I love. Both him and Alan Sanchez did the following. Hey, what do you got going on next? Oh, man, there's something in the works. I can't talk about it yet. That means UFC BJJ now. Like at that point, if somebody plays coy and they go, oh, I can't talk about, just assume it's UFC BJJ. Because who else, aside from what, one? What are you talking about? One wants you to tell people like, hey, we're in talks with one because they could use some extra help.
Yeah.
To get more divisions going. Who's number one? I think you can almost guess who most of those people are at this point. So, yeah, if people say, like, ooh, I wish I could talk about it, just at this point, assume it's UFC BJJ. And what ends up happening is, guess what? Ta-da! It was both of them, and they do deserve slots on there. But as a respectful interviewer, when they have both said it to me, or Alan said it on the UFC Fight Pass after winning EBI a third time, congrats, by the way, Alan, it was just like, if things come through, man, it's big stuff happening. UFC BJJ. Just, that's it. That's the new rule. we're making it and decreeing it so. So good luck to everybody on that one. We will be watching and very excited for all those individuals to get their shine. But we move on because this weekend there's also a Who's Number One card. And Tim, if I'm not mistaken, is that happening in just a few minutes or so? Is that going down tonight?
I think it's going down tonight. Yeah. And there were some last minute changes to the card too. I think Diego Pato's match got scratched a couple days ago. But yeah, man, it's going down tonight. This is Pena versus Luke Griffith for the heavyweight belt. I know we kind of talked about that before. You got Helena Crevar, Julia Boscher for the WNO featherweight title. Helena's just continuing to win and do well, so props to her. And then I really like this. You got Shanji Hibero coming back and fighting against Faris. I'm sorry, I'm going to botch the last name there, light heavyweight. Paige Yvette's on the card. So it's, Chris Wojcik, Oliver Taza. Pretty good card going down tonight. So I would check it out. I like that Who's Number One is kind of keeping the fire going. It feels like, the 2, 3, 4 main organizations right now, at least in the States, are Who's Number One. You have PGF, you have UFC BJJ, and then who else you got? There's got to be another player in there. But, I think it's good for jiu-jitsu. I just don't know where it's all going to shake out. But as long as these guys are getting paid and getting contracts and the money's starting to flow, it's progress.
It is. And I'm happy because there are some good folks in there. And even though that match got killed at the very last second, I think it was the Corbe match.
Yeah, that's right.
It is nice to see Oliver Taza and Chris Wojcik were available because those are two pretty good individuals. So getting them on the card is so exciting that Tim has to leave. Tim legitimately was so excited about that match. He got kicked off the call. He was like, let me put in my order right now to Flow Grappling to make sure I am watching that. So Tim, welcome back, sir. But I was very happy that, yes, as I was saying, Wojcik and Taza were available to step in because that's a pretty good match. And as Wojcik was recounting on the countdown show, no, we lost Tim again. He does not like Chris Wojcik. I think we can deduce that. As he was on the countdown show with Alex Wendling, he was telling them that they had a match previously and that Taza won by just a small amount of points. And I thought, okay, that's pretty cool. I'm happy to see that is the case. Having said that, the thing I'm actually happier about is they're letting Alex Wendling actually do the press conference pre-show element now for their show. And it is such a relief because she has the right presence, the right personality. She's playful. Not to say that the other people weren't, but I just wasn't tuning in for that. And I always feel like everybody, when they're in that position, it is important to promote the event. But I do feel like Alex Wendling does a great job of checking the quotes and making sure that when she asks them if they said something, she is following along. And I feel like Ferris and Shanji are a great example of that because she's literally asking, like, did you call this dude old? But she doesn't just ask it like that. She puts the question out there. And I feel like that makes for them to kind of go a little bit more insane. And I think she does a great job of putting it out there. So I sent her a note and I said, I'm so happy you're doing these because I feel like they're going to improve even more now. So, Tim, when we talk about the improvements that Flow Grappling can make, I feel like that was a move in a positive direction from a production standpoint.
Yeah, I do too. And I think, the good thing about there being a handful of these players is they are kind of pushing each other to get better. Like the productions have gotten better. There are elements now that are being thrown in that used to not exist. And, there's a lot of cross-pollination of ideas. You see people kind of moving back and forth between organizations. So it's kind of the same group of people doing a lot of it, to be honest with you, at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's definitely makes for a better product. So
fair enough. Let us move to our next topic right now, which is the cult war. So, okay, there's some illusions here, and I'm not for sure on how we're going to handle this one entirely, but we're talking about something with Craig Jones now getting a prominent profile piece. And was this the New York Times that he was recently appearing in?
This was New York Times Magazine. So they also publish a magazine. They did a feature on him.
Copy that. So with the New York Times Magazine, basically giving Craig some props for being interesting in a sport that hasn't really emerged with interesting personalities yet. And I thought that was pretty good. But really, what it felt like was a profile piece on somebody having a victory lap year against his biggest rival in the sport, which was Gordon Ryan. Because so much of this was saying Gordon Ryan does this, but Craig Jones is better at this. And even the quotation in the article that says, Craig Jones may be 0-3 against Gordon Ryan in competition, but you'd be hard-pressed to say he has ever lost to him online, which almost feels like a verbatim thing I have said. But I digress.
That sounds like every episode of the Bullpen right there.
You know what? Listen, dude. Like the people in the pizza place that just hear me and make a tweet out of it, you're welcome, world. But having said that, I think it's visible enough that everybody can see that. Tim, tell us the thoughts and what we gained in knowledge from that. And what does that mean for future people maybe being profiled in the sport in an incredibly different and creative way?
You know, I'm not sure exactly what it means yet. I've been thinking a lot about it. This writer, his name is Adrian Nathan West. His article was published about a week ago. And it's a good article, and it was fun to read. If you're kind of following this already, there's in your jiu-jitsu head, there's not going to be anything in here that you are. In fact, you're going to know a lot more juice than what was in this. But I did enjoy it. It does, like Raf, you're right. It does basically say, Craig doesn't have that great of a record against this rival, but he smokes him out in the people's court. So they do a good job at kind of explaining that. The only thing that it does like kind of lump in everybody who does jujitsu and MMA or follows it, or like they're pro Gordon Ryan and therefore that means they believe this and they like this and they support this. And it's like, it's a little bit more nuanced than that. Like there's a lot going on with the Gordon Ryan saga. It's way deeper than just a political divide. This is like a guy that came up and became king and then got into some crazy controversy with his brother. And there's a Puerto Rican chapter and there's, Craig splits. This is a full fucking drama, man. We could make a 3-part movie series. This is fantastic is what it is. This battle between these two guys, it's still going, but really, I think it's the story of Gordon Ryan, really, because most of it starts with him and it kind of goes through his metamorphosis, I guess you could say. Not this article, but this whole overall story. But I thought it was good. I do think it's interesting that you're starting to see more mainstream publications talk about jiu-jitsu in a way where it's not such a mysterious, crazy thing. And they're getting it more correct now. It's not getting lumped in with, say, Taekwondo or Kung Fu or some other kind of martial art. Like they're starting to understand what its context is in terms of combat sports. So as far as that goes, I think it's great. And look, I'm running a gym. So as many people that can read about jiu-jitsu, hear about jiu-jitsu, see jiu-jitsu, and want to come sign up, let's go. Thank you, New York Times Magazine. I'm available if you would like to do a hit piece on me. Let's go.
I am also available if you want to do a hit piece on Tim. I am happy to provide some interesting context. I can definitely give you the quotations that you need. The thing I want to bring up here is you mentioned that, yes, a lot of it is based in the realm and the universe of Gordon Ryan, one might say. But how interesting is it that you could fuck up so much that the New York Times magazine says, hey, that dude's messed up so much and you've made fun of him. How can we interview you about that?
Yeah, it's prolific, right?
It's an impressive amount of mess ups. And I am compelled for this reason that there's a little bit of acknowledgement of Craig kind of roasting, but Craig was essentially taking a victory lap this week and put up the gypsies, the witch's curse of Gordon Ryan. And at first we laughed because we said, ha, this is silly. But then you look at the greatest hits of the year of Gordon Ryan's unfortunate moments. And I have to say, it's tricky with the business with somebody he was related to, or not related to, but like married, brother, sister, relationship. No one knows. They just kept saying weird things about it. So let's just say somebody that is close to him. Okay? Somebody that's close to him has an unfortunate moment, gets a DUI, and it brings up, how do you talk about this? And the internet doesn't care because they take the lead of Craig and they're just like, look at this. That sucks. And they keep waiting for Gordon to post about it. And it's a personal matter. It sucks. Nobody wants that to happen. But the fact that it happens to somebody who always has an opinion on everything and has opinions on other people's shortcomings and failings, people feel a certain way, and then they feel like they can go ahead and talk about it like they know it. And yet here's Craig Jones posting a video of that gypsy curse, and yet none of that was as bad. Not even the toehold not working out. That's just unfortunate business. Nothing, in my opinion, was worse than the footage of Gordon being held hostage by Moneyberg. Because here we talk about somebody who's bragging about all the money he's making, essentially on his own. And I think he knows to go up even more in wealth, you have to combine with somebody else who has money. And in that particular case, Tim, you are combining with somebody who is using your credibility for their own gain, of then getting the stupidest human beings possible to pay money to take a course where they say inspirational fortune cookie nonsense to let them know you too can be a savage, but not as savage as me because I have your money. I felt like that was the biggest gypsy curse there, because Gordon blinks a bit, but there's about Morse code level blinking in that Moneyberg video.
Yeah, there's always a uncomfortableness to the guest that sits next to Moneyberg, almost as if like there's itching powder in their chair and they don't want to react on camera. You could tell they just get visibly kind of like just not comfortable. It's like meeting your girlfriend's parents the first time. And you're like sitting down, but you're trying not to get too relaxed because you don't want people to think you sit there all the time. You've been there for hours and hours. I don't know, man. Is Gordon a victim maybe of, because I'm great at one thing, that means I'm great at everything? And I kind of wonder if people just kind of fall into that. It's almost like a stepped order of hypnotism that they fall under with this Moneyberg guy. Like he just, which I guess is Cash. Cash is the ultimate hypnotic. You just start waving money in front of people and you'll be surprised at what they'll do for you, man. I don't know, dude. It's freaking weird though, to be honest with you. I'm calling it Gordonberg. That's my new name for that. This is like, and this might be a new chapter. This might be the final chapter in Gordon's story. He meets Gordonberg.
I mean, listen, celebrity partnerships are not necessarily new.
Celebrities saying a lot, like
for sure. But hear me out here. Somebody had to go up to George Foreman and say, it's a grill. Okay.
Right.
No, but it's the grill, and it's going to be your grill, to the point where you go, oh, that's a good idea. So yeah, partnerships are going to happen. I don't think people have weirdness about people aligning with a strategic partnership. That's why, to me, the whole thing is like, that just didn't work out between the parties. It's unfortunate. It is what it is, but at least there was a product behind it. This is a, hey, you can get rich quick scene. This is a, No, only I can teach you how to become a successful alpha. And then when you hear them talking about it, they're using entry level stuff that you would hear because they rail against schools, but it sure looks like a school as people are taking notes.
Yeah.
But their school is different because it's going to teach you how to business. So that little open-ended thing is very much like it'd be different if you would just say you're a networking thing, because then you would have the ability to say, well, guess what? You're going there to network with other like-minded people. Instead, you're saying, hey, all of you guys are dummies because you don't have my life and you don't have my cars. So therefore, you dumb, me rich, good. And I think, well, the sad part of this is we are within our rights to make fun of you because it's really looking really stupid. And all of these guys look so embarrassed. All of them. The greatest hits that they put together on the internet are magic every single time. And I actually didn't see a clip of the class until this week. I didn't know it was 12 weeks old. I looked down and I go, when did this? Oh, God, it was 12 weeks ago. My algorithm respects me. Thank God. Because I had not seen it for that long.
Lloyd Irvin somewhere is like, damn, Moneyberg came in with the idea. I wish I would have thought of that. He was basically kind of doing it, right? The multimillionaire mastery.
I mean,
if you want the real secrets, you got to join up for platinum.
Buying one particular website is still a problem in that scenario you just reminded us of. And I would invite you guys, if you ever wanted to do your research of that one website that was a poor choice for a certain individual to have purchased, I feel like that's fair criticism. But I do feel like there is a growing culture of people who just want to be successful and they want to hear it from people who look like they are successful.
Yeah.
Which is fine. But Gordon is successful because of jiu-jitsu. So you should probably want to see his DVDs of how he did well in jiu-jitsu, because those DVD instructionals have value. Him being like, I mean, it's just apparent you go out there and if you guys, people just don't want to work hard. And if you guys work hard, then you're going to be able to pass all these other people because, and I'm like, these are just generic observations.
Yeah.
They're not necessarily how I want to spend my time. So,
there's like a whole field of bro business now, and where, they're like, they'll laugh at you for having a college education. Right. But then they basically sit down and do bro business. Yeah. Bro economics, bro science, bro business administration. They're learning all the same. Like they're trying to learn the exact stuff that you learn when you actually go to school, but they broed it up a bunch. Yeah, we chill. We're bro. We all fuck all that, dude. It's crazy, dude.
Which, Tim, brings me to a great transition to, ladies and gentlemen, please don't be afraid to join the Bullpen Business Practices. By getting this iPad filled with our coursework, you, in a short amount of time, will be able to podcast like nobody else can. If you don't have words, don't worry. We have them for you. Just buy this iPad, retail valued at $4,000 each. When you give us that money, that's only the first part. And then you have to take 29 courses at $2,000 each, a steal. But if you sign up now, $1,999. And we will teach you how to business well. Tim, back to back. Wait. No, the other way. No, you got to go this way. Come learn from us. Bullpen business.
Man, I knocked my green screen down.
It was worth it. 100% worth every bit of the bit. Go ahead
and hang on. Let me
take the bit.
You've revealed my secrets.
No, it's too good. It's too good. I 100%. I actually just want to put the camera on you.
Just leave it. Okay. Messed it up.
What?
It's very delicate.
No, I know. We figured that part. Oh my God. If this thing falls on you, this is actually worth the price of admission.
I got it.
You got it? Okay.
I don't know if I actually.
You don't have it. I'm going to tell you right now. I can see the cabinet behind it.
Shut up.
I can. Yeah, it's okay.
No.
Look, listen, we're getting a real Wizard of Oz situation here where you're not supposed to look behind the curtain. As Tim does that, I'm going to go ahead and start telling you about our next topic. But I will check in on Tim because I do want to see how this is going. Oh no, we're seeing a TV. This is terrible. We shouldn't see any of this behind the scenes nature. This is by far better than the show is supposed to be. And you know what? You can't get this with Gordon and Moneyberg. I can tell you that right now. You can only get this at Bullpen Business. That's Bullpen Business. You can find it at 1-800-BULLPEN. Kind of works. Woo!
I'm telling you, this is Jack, dude. If I sneeze wrong, this thing's coming down on me again.
That's magic. This is the best show we've ever done. What are you talking about? Oh my God, this is even better. I didn't know we had a review here, but this is how you know. Again, you've been brought in as a top member of the pyramid. Egghead Jiu-Jitsu was a beta tester, and I can tell you the Bullpen courses made me the podcaster I am today.
That's right.
Yep, undeniable. And you can too. So that's what we're going to do. Woo! My God. That was worth every bit of derailed chaos. Okay. Tim, I'm going to put the camera on you. Why did a white belt bite his own arm at a recent competition, sir?
Tactics, man. I mean, at first I was detested. I was like, I read the byline and I didn't pick up on it. It's so ludicrous. I thought, oh no, there's another bite. There's like another biter. And so, I'm like, here we go. It's the Moonraker segment all over again. We just had a bite segment. Like, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, we had a bite segment. I'm like, is this an epidemic? Like, what's going on in the jiu-jitsu world? But this is actually a lot more clever than that. So there was a tournament, a couple white belts getting at it, and Davi Garros was the competitor who won. He was ahead 7-0. There was about 30 seconds left on the match. The opponent kind of like yelps out a little bit. You can't exactly see what he says, but the ref stops, and then the ref looks at his opponent's wrist, and he sees a bite mark, and the ref stops the match. Now, Davi has no idea what's going on. He's just like thinks he, and then the ref shows the DQ sign, raises the other guy's hand, and Davi was, understandably upset. It turns out his competitor, under attack on purpose, bit his own wrist and then showed it to the ref and said he bit me and got him DQ'd. Now, as a professional wrestling fan, this is one of the most brilliant tactics I think I have ever heard of in the jiu-jitsu world. This is smarter than biting somebody. Bite yourself. It won't even hurt. You won't hurt yourself. If you purposely bite yourself, you won't hurt yourself, but you get the same results. You get the teeth marks. Unfortunately, all this was on camera, directly in front of this camera, and kid ended up apologizing, admitted that he lied, came out and made an apology. So look, if he's my white belt, I'm like, bro, I respect your hustle. I get what you're doing. Let's change the tactic up a little bit, but I'm not mad about it like I probably should be. So
I'm glad that Brian got to this at the exact same moment.
Oh,
this is peak Eddie Guerrero moment. Like, in case you don't know how I coach, and I'll tell a lot about myself when I say how I coach. I would in public tell my student, how dare you? Don't ever do that. In private, I will 100% be like, that was so dope. I'm so proud of you.
Yeah.
But I'm going to give them hell for one reason. He admitted he did it, which you don't do. You don't do. Eddie Guerrero didn't go, nah, you got me. It was my steel chair. No, he 100% was like, genius. That's a true artist. This child, this white belt, I hope in time you are able to make the corrections that you need to make, which is stick to the bit. Commit to it. If you go out of your way to bite and then you reveal you did it, you do that a week later. But you get that $2 plastic medal. And as a recurring theme, you get a photo of that plastic medal that you won and you bite that. And then you do a wink at the audience to be like, see what I got? That's branding.
Yeah,
and then you
exactly.
release rash guards where you bite something. And I think it just sells itself. And these are practices that you will learn at Bullpen Business. Bullpen Business is the only place you need to go to learn how to cheat the system. Hey, you want to do it by the book? This is a book. Buy that too. Bullpen Practices. Get it now today for the low cost of $4,000 to enter, and then every $2,000 for our 32. We just added 2 more courses, including how to mouth off and social media ? How'd that work? Those are the courses you could expect to take with us.
Yeah.
Let's move on to our next topic, Tim. Our next topic is that of Folk BJJ. So this is interesting to me because I had read about this, but I'm intrigued to hear more about the actual practice of it. It looks, Tim, that Tom Hardy has been very busy behind the scenes. Famed actor, very beloved jiu-jitsu practitioner. What has he been up to, sir?
So, this is a really interesting story. It caught my one because Tom Hardy seems like a really cool dude, great actor, and a great participant of the sport, a great practitioner of jiu-jitsu. We were just talking not too long ago about celebrity jiu-jitsu folks, and I think he's one that's like super well respected. He always gets after it. He competes in general population. So that's hard enough already, let alone if you're a celebrity. The second hook in here that really grabbed my attention is Daniel Fornosa, the folk musician, is a friend of mine. This is a guy that I've known for a long time, actually. I've hung out at his house, and I've known him for quite a while, and he's a very talented musician. He's really good. When I met him, he was a blue belt. He is an AOJ black belt, real deal, really good jiu-jitsu practitioner. He's got a school out in the Henderson area. I don't know if it's quite in Henderson, but it's in that area. And he's met Tom Hardy through jiu-jitsu, developed some kind of relationship with him. I know Hardy's trained with him quite a few times over the last couple of years. And recently, Hardy reposted a song that my buddy wrote called, this is not this. Talk about posting your playlist. Listen, I love you, Daniel. You're a homie. You're an OG. Not share my playlist if it had this song only because of the title. Don't be scared to be vulnerable. I am scared to be vulnerable. I'm from Stockton, man. You can't be vulnerable there. But having said that, Hardy's got like 11 million viewers, so he's been posting this song quite a bit. And Daniel Fornosa's got a Spotify. You can check it out all there. But it was kind of cool to see a friend who is a great musician, great jiu-jitsu guy. He's a hustler. He's got a family. He's a good dude. It's nice when somebody kind of in the pro wrestling world, what do we call it? We call it giving him a rub. Hardy doesn't have to give him a rub, but he did. So that's always nice to see.
Mr. Hardy, if for any reason you do not follow professional wrestling, I assure you what Tim said was less gay than it sounded and very
I want a rub from Tom Hardy.
Nope. Okay.
I want him to rub both of us.
Nope, Mr. Hardy, respect you too much. Would love to roll with you, but I don't think that's the way to make that happen. So make sure we don't do that.
I'll just stop talking.
It's okay. It's just, dude, we're trying to make money here. Like, what do we do? But you can learn these tactics on what not to do at Bullpen Business. Bullpen Business. Find out how taking unfortunate statements can be your way to success.
Unfortunate statements are one of the best things about this show. We really need somebody to go watch all the shows and make a best of unfortunate statements on the Bullpen, because I have laid into like 80% of them, I feel like.
I just love the fact that Kevin Sherrill is still going to have the most unfortunate statements out of all the hosts here on this show. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Okay. Tim, we're at that time. It's the best of the worst. We got to get you out of here in a second, but it's time to talk about this week's low light highlight. So what can we expect from this week's? Let me see here. I see fight of the week, and yet it looks like there's more loaded. What's going on here, sir?
Well, we met last week, and because we love the bullpen. I love doing the show with you. I love everybody who tunes in. I even love the bots that comment on our feed. Thank you so much. We decided to do 2 fights. We didn't have one last week, so we decided to do 2 this week. And I could tell you this. There's certain genres of street fights. There's parking lot street fights. We've seen a lot of those. There's mall street fights. They happen inside the mall. There's grocery store street fights. There's department store street fights, right? You see those park fights. You see park fights. There's another genre, and it pops up every now and then, but it's highly underrated, and that is fast food street fights. I'll tell you what, if I was an insurance adjuster or one of those dudes that figure, I can't remember what they're called, actuary, I would not ask people, do you go to fast food because I'm worried about your diet? I would ask them, do you go to fast food because shit's popping off at fast food? And there's a high likelihood you're going to find yourself in a jiu-jitsu altercation. I can see Hinner and Heat on right now are making a video, how to survive if you eat fast food. Don't eat it, but if you do, here's how you can survive. But having said that, great fast food fight. This is one of those fights that takes place at Taco Bell. And I believe we have another one at another favorite fast food that I won't mention yet. Taco Bell, and it jumps all over the restaurant, which is great. And there's a certain thing I want to see if you catch. And it's a theme that has come up multiple times in these street fight videos. Not all the time, but when it does, we always applaud it. We always call it out. And there's some good camera people out there. I'll just say that.
Understood. Why don't we start with the very first one here, Tim? Walk us through this one if you would be so kind.
Hey, so something happened. I ordered a Supreme taco. You call this Supreme, not in my county.
Ooh.
And then they get into it. And, when the ladies fight, someone's going to lose some hair. And sometimes they lose all the hair. Now, these girls, they go bare knuckle, balls to the wall in the hallway. This is like the challenge hall brawl taking place. You got people being swung out of the doors. Look at this. Throw her out of the steel cage here. Pulls her jacket off. And now you think it's going to die down, but no, there's action going on in the back here. This is basically the Royal Rumble. You have a double hair pull with knees. This is a hockey fight taking place on linoleum. See, the manager's got the puffy jacket. That gives him a little protection. He comes in, he doesn't want to take a bump. These ladies are not having it. You think it's over. It's still popping off in the restaurant. Now, some cooler heads start to prevail, but there's a tornado brewing down that hallway, just like the Oasis song that talks about coming down the hall like a cannonball. Ultimately, this hall brawl is going to find itself back into the main dining room. Just wait for it. And here it comes. This is like them trying to run a politician out after an assassination attempt. And then hit money shot right at the end. Wow. The lone flip-flop.
So let me go here. I'm going to do mine very quickly on this one, Tim. A lot of good highlights here. But let's start off with this. First and foremost, if you are throwing some kind of electronics at somebody, ask yourself what the retail value is. But that's literally, it looks like the cash where you bump your card on. So it's like, oh, are you ready to go ahead and insert your card? It's like, no, I'm going to throw at you, bitch. So then they start rounding up. And I think this is a brave crew. This is why you should raise the low minimum wage up. Like, this fight alone should be played in Congress. Now, here's where I start enjoying things. She's hitting something like it's a drum beat. Like, look at her. It's got a rhythm to it. It's amazing. Meanwhile, Tim, look at the stance here. This is the best.
Yeah.
If she winds up like a cartoon, like then you know that you're in for something great. This is what I love, is they start chasing after them. Like, hey, you don't have the bathroom code. That's only for paying customers. No. Little Kim here gets ducked down. It's not looking very good for her. She gets whipped into the door. And I love that as a stalling tactic. But let's talk a little bit right here, Tim, about the use of grips. I'm trying to teach my students about the importance of grips. Look at this gi grip that controls your opponent. And then look here. These are the loosest grips I've ever seen in my life. I do not understand how this is controlling anybody with this. It's prim and proper, and it looks like she's just doing the motions. Lots of hard blows.
Was that a weave on the floor?
You know, I believe it is pronounced weave. So
it's a weave grip.
It's a weave grip. Oh my goodness. The grips on this, the pistol grip on the braids are a lot. As you mentioned, I think this is that dude who hosts the show on the internet. It's that dude who does all the skits. Good for him. And yeah, he makes his way around. Everybody's thinking, man, this is over. But this, Tim, if anything, I think this is a good infomercial just to kind of make a big point here. You think that you're going to solve all the problems with electronic ordering? You won't. Look, they thought you could go there and order on this electronic ordering machine. If anything, it might be evidence that more problems will happen. So I feel like you guys can see these things happen. And in real time, yes, that was the weave right there. There is some hats.
Wow.
There's been a lot of melee. Is that a Michael Jackson glove that happened right there?
I love the walkout. This is like the coming out to UFC.
Oh, my God.
It's the Taco Bell train.
All right. That is definitely part of it. And yes, the coup de grace, the last little slipper here. Tim, I'm going to play the second video. You already previewed both, but is there anything you want to say before I press play on the second video, sir?
This is at 1 billion served, maybe even more. Look, we're coming up. We're not in the billions yet, but Mickey D's is coming up on the hundreds of thousands of ass whoopings served. And we'll get to see that right here.
Well, let's look at it right now. Tim, walk us through it.
So again, staff is like, it looks like they're training now for these fights. You see how they're lined up like on a cruise ship where they greet you when you come on. They're like doing the walkout. I don't know what was up with the little kid run. It's like an omen in a bad movie. He runs to the front, and now there's like a beat down going on in pickup lane 1 right here.
It's magical.
This guy just fries, That's all.
I want to say a big thanks to our friend, Stephen Briggs, for sending that. Stephen is the homie, a comedian. If you don't know him, get to know him. He's very funny. He's a big martial arts fan, and I saw this and I said, hey brother, can I borrow this? He's like, oh, absolutely, I expect it. But let's look at this one more time. It's short, but there's a lot of stuff that's happening here. Okay, everybody's surveying and recognizing something's about to go down. You don't just wear a vest and make your way to the door without something going down here, Tim. But this is when you know the tides are shifting. This young man, look at him.
Oh, yeah.
He cheeses it, and he's never been happier to be a part of a brawl that he's not even going to remotely stay for.
Look at him. He's so happy.
Look at him. You get out of there with your freaking orange juice boba, bro. Thank you very much for that. I love the trail out, because as you trail out, you realize, oh, people are on the ground. That's not great. And people are trying to increase the pace. But can I bring up something here? If they tell you to go to station number 3 and park there, are you doing it here? Because I feel like if they say, hey, we'll bring your meal right out, we just need a second, go to parking station 3, I'd be like, you know what, keep the meal. I'm going to go to Wendy's right now. I think I'm in a good spot. So that is it. Timothy J. Freeman, tell the people where they can find you, sir. Tell the people where they can come train with you and all of that good jazz.
At Inside BJJ on your favorite social media platforms. You can find me here every week with my good partner, RAF. It was great to do this today with you. If you're out in Nashville, come see me at 10th Planet Nashville. And if you are in Stockton, go see my homies out there in Stockton. Much love to the city of Stockton. A lot of bad stuff happening out there, but I still love those people very much. RAF, it's great to see you, man. Good stuff as always. Sometimes I get so excited I can't contain myself, and I forget that we're doing a show, and I just feel like we're talking, So I do apologize for that, but not that an apology, just like a slight apology, just like a tiny one.
I agree. And Tim, I didn't pull up the quotation like you had asked me, unfortunately, but it looked like you were back in the gi. No. What prompted that, sir?
Well, I got a couple guys who do competitions and they train in the gi here and there. And sometimes they compete in it and they've been wanting to do it. And I'll tell you what I think it really was. This blue belt, and I love him. He probably isn't listening anyway, so it doesn't matter. He might, who knows? You never know. But I think he thought if we put the gi on, he would get the better of me. Like, I'll do better against you, coach. Let's put the gi on. And I was like, let's do the gi. Let's put the gi on. And it's been so much fun. And I just made a little highlight video of me kind of stunting on them. I like to stunt on my students. And then I said I'm the only one allowed to post those videos. And I put it to G and a Gi, because that's a great song. And Alec Gracie left a comment on the post and said he's finally back in a gi again, which I thought was quite funny, to be honest with you. Listen, go back and listen to G and a gi. It's not that bad, dude.
No, don't you?
It's better than 80% of the new stuff. I actually was kind of liking it. You don't know judo. You don't know jujitsu, bro. I'm just a G and a gi, dude.
Listen, dude. Alec and I have had our differences of opinion over the years. I'm willing to bet even he and I agree. Maybe that's not the best song.
With that, I'm going to step away. You win, Raf.
Tim, you enjoy the rest of your night. I'll close it up. Ladies and gentlemen, Tim Freeman, appreciate that guy. All right, and we appreciate you guys for tuning in. We have some great stuff planned in the near future. Just to let you know, I have an interview with Salisbury Steak, a.k.a. TV, BJJ, dinner, whatever he's going by. You got Anthony Parker Salisbury. Otherwise, he likes to be referred to as Parker. He'll be on the show. We have already recorded that episode. That episode is going out to everybody on Patreon like now-ish. I think it's going to go on. You can find that at patreon.com/grappling hour. You can see my interviews 30 days before everybody else for just $5. Support the show. It's the Christmas season. Enjoy this show, pay for this show. That's a good way to show your boy RAF ESPARZA you got some love. So do that. Make sure to go to rafesparza.com/merch. Get you some Grappling Hour merch, some Grappling Hour t-shirts, hoodies, tanks, whatever it is you feel like getting to support the show. It means a lot to me. Thank you very much. And it goes directly back into the show, every cent. You can also check us out at Patreon. You can check us out at Discord, and at Discord it's Grappling Hour. Go there, like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't and you watched all the way through. It doesn't make any sense. And a big note here, everybody. I want to tell everybody this. So Egg has spun off his own show, and I'm so excited that he is doing it. It is Egghead Jiu-Jitsu. You can find it on YouTube. Please go support him. He is a big friend of the show, and I've just started seeing clips go up. But at 5 p.m., a.k.a. in 20 minutes at Egghead Jiu-Jitsu, you will be able to see Lauren Barone, who is part of the owner of the Philly Phenoms, who's going to be giving her direction on where she sees that team going in the near future, among other topics with Egg. That is going to be a great idea to start getting the philosophy behind that team, because you got the New Hope Kings, you got the Alabama Twisters, and we're starting to see more and more people emerging as players in the world of the PGF, which then officially kicks off in February. They will have their draft in February, and before you know it, it's March, and we're back in season, and before you know it, it's April, and we're doing the playoffs. So the action is about to kick off very shortly. You guys want to hear all these interviews. You want to hear Salisbury Steak himself, Parker, talking us through his wins at the very first PGF qualifier at the 175 division, and he's only the first to be announced. And he doesn't say who's coming, but he's teasing you might see some familiar faces in the PGF world. So that is all we can say. And I'm very, very excited to have you do this. Look, this is how committed Egg is. He says, had to prep my show while still watching yours. My friend, you are preaching to the choir here. And it says, Evan Stapler's version of a lot is way better. Thank you. TV dinner, BJJ. And yes, go check that out. That's going to be happening in 18 minutes. So If you want to take a short break, go find your way over to him. And you should probably like and subscribe his stuff too, because he'll have updates throughout the years that will help you make better decisions. Questionably better decisions. Informed, we can say that. I think that's an accurate thing. I have to be careful because our lawyers might come after me on that. I'm like, no, you can't say. And legally, if you say this, he's accountable for your fantasy team sucking. End of the world. Sports betting. It's a thing. Anyway, go check him out. That should be a very fun interview. I will definitely be checking it out. If not today, a little bit later, but I'm going to try and tune in for a little bit before I head on out today. That's going to do it for us here at the Bullpen. My thanks to all of you for sticking around. We had a blast. We hope you enjoyed this one. We will be back. And don't forget, we're going to have the end of the year awards coming up very soon. So if you guys have some nominees as to what nonsense should be nominated for end of the year bullies, let us know, because we had a very impactful year. One of the only shows that went weekly on topical news, while other people just interview people. Yawn, we do that too, and more. So check that out. Bullpen will be back next Friday. Until then, my friends, it's been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mat.